the when I had to make the decision after that camp, I get a text immediately when I get home to New York from the coach, and he's like, "Hey, we have an opening spot. Like, we have an injury. Do you want to come to Hong Kong?" I'm like, "When?" He was like in a few days. Like, the tournament.
Yo!
I was like, what? I'm like, this is insane.
Yo, it's time to get that.
I think the minute I stepped on a practice field for rugby, the calling happened.
An 8-year plan to be on the team. And I was in it within 2 years.
Don't wait until you are a pro to be a pro. Right.
And I walk around with a rugby ball sometimes and they're like, what is this child on?
It looks like it was a heavy hit.
It's up, it's not up.
You know, that's the first time I played like professionally.
I'm making rugby money. How can I make money outside of it?
And there's two Scottish guys, and they said, "Oh, you're here for the movie."
That rugby is a game for all shapes and sizes, all cultural aspects.
He looked at me and he says, "You guys are awesome."
Roll rugby, 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 roll rugby.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime Ebelu, and this is the show where we speak to people about the opportunities that they have found, created, or taken advantage of via rugby. Now, I don't know if you guys know. It's obviously, I think this episode's coming in, literally, I'm recording it today. Like, you're getting it Tuesday, I'm recording it Tuesday because, of course, Louisiana, as great a state as it is a hurricane state, and we just got hit by a hurricane, so our power's kind of out and everything. Thankfully, and you probably can hear the generator over the top. Thankfully, I have a generator, and we were all good. For the most part, everything was good. A few shingles off the roof was gone. A bunch of broken trees. I mean, some places like a little bit, about 30 minutes up the road, this town called Gonzales. Man, when I tell you, it's not broken trees. It's full grown folk trees being ripped out of the ground. Like the thing looks like something out of Fern Gully. And if you guys don't know what Fern Gully is, it's an old 1990s cartoon that was an environmentalism cartoon about these fairies and the Amazon forest. But the point is, like, it's full ripped up, stuff. But where I was in my neighborhood and everything, a couple trees went down. We had a power pole down, and obviously we're still trying to wait to get these things fixed. But ultimately, no biggie. It's no biggie. This is part of life. This is the Louisiana life. We deal with this every single year. Every single year. You usually get one big hurricane and like 2 or 3 tropical storms along the way. So thankfully, there was nothing there. Blessings on that, and we're okay. But as a result, I'm a little bit limited in how much I can do. So the video on this is probably going to come up a little bit later. Hopefully, fingers crossed, power comes in today. But overall, it's going to be all right. It's all right, and be able to use what little bit I have to be able to get this up. I do it for the people, man. I do it for the people. Just hope you knows. But guys, we got a great episode for you today. An amazing guest. She was so fun to be able to talk to. I know you probably have seen it if you guys read the title, but you know what? I still want to be able to introduce hard. Got to know about her many years ago, but to get a chance to talk to her, a legend up in New York, Northeast Academy alumni, Sacred Heart, University of Sacred Heart, former assistant coach, and now best known, I will say, as one of the leaders on the Mexican rugby national team women's side that got to play in the Repechage back in Monaco right before the Olympics started. So she had a chance to be able to play against Russia, who had a chance to play in that Olympics, getting to play on the top side, and really got a chance to sit down and talk and go over just like the process. It's been a really big process. And guys, we got so many great stories like this and so many variations. So I suggest please like and subscribe this. Definitely go on to, if you're not on YouTube, check us out on YouTube, subscribe and hit that notification button. And if you guys are listening to it on a podcast, definitely subscribe and listen and share with your friends. Let them know that you got some great stories that are out there that are rugby stories, and we kind of get in depth. We keep it cash, but we keep it real over here. I don't know why I said cash. I don't even use that in my vernacular. Really, we keep it casual. It's casual. I'm sorry, people. I didn't mean to do that. But that being said, please do all the best. And of course, we got some amazing sponsors. Green Geeks, one of the best servers in the business. If you guys are looking to be able to create a website, create your e-commerce store, be able to create just any place where you can house your content, because I don't know if you guys realize social media is not always the most reliable place, and it can also start to play around with your reach and engagement if you don't know how to deal with it correctly. And you want to be able to have a place where you can call your own. So definitely reach out to Green Geeks. Hit our link in the bio, in the description down below, and guys, really want to check it out. It helps us in a big way, but more importantly, just give yourselves autonomy, because we're growing the ecosystem of rugby out here. And also, please check out Rugby Outlet Mall. You guys can use promo code GROWRUGBY for 20% off. We're about to actually close out our current stock. We have about 30 days left before we close out the stock and replace it with something completely new. So for all the day ones, everybody who's been wanting to follow, who hasn't had a chance, definitely check out rugbyoutletmall.com. Link again inside the description. Guys, I don't want to hold you guys off anymore. You guys enjoyed the great, the awesome, and amazing conversation. Let's definitely going to do this again. Jenn Salomon.
Grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime Bailu, and we got LV, an important I, and the people of the persons that become the VI. We got it working out. It's gonna the VVIIPP. There we go. We're gonna make. I think I finally got that together. She is a Northeast Academy alum, coach. She is a Mexico Mexico women's national team member. She is a repechage. You know what? She had a chance to go to the Olympics and played against the Olympians in this. This is a legend out in the Northeast. Jenn Salomon, of course, of New York Rugby Club. Of course, I got to get the local stuff. I got to get it right. Got to make sure it's right. Jenn, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And thanks for the intro.
Look, we got to make sure the legends get properly introduced in, all right? And regardless, I know you're not going to say, I'm not a legend. I'm going to be like, no, stop, Jenn. I've seen how people talk about you. I've seen what you do. You a legend out here. You a legend out here in these streets.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I always like saying where I got to know people. And obviously, I think we haven't had a formal introduction, but I have heard so much about you basically over the course of the last 4 years. And I think it started off with Northeast Academy and all the work, all the playing that you did. Like, you kept popping up, and that and WPL. Like, your name popped up a lot. Over and over, and I'm like, who is this person? And then all of a sudden, you took up the role as coach for Sacred Heart, and it was just like, okay, this is New York. And then, of course, now knowing all these people from New York, like Ryan Ginty and Tiffany Faye, the Granbys, and all that, your name constantly kept popping up more and more. And I'm like, all right, Jenn. All right, I did this. There's a super person over here in rugby in New York area. So. It was definitely whenever I had the chance, and like I told you before, it'd been something I wanted to do in terms of being able to talk to you. But you got to make sure the platform's right. I want to earn my way into this, and it is just it was great seeing you in Mexico, seeing you in Monaco, and there's too much. I could talk on and on, but I appreciate and I'm honored to be able to have you be able to get a chance to talk to you and get to know you now on an official level.
Absolutely. And likewise, I like I said, I'm just super excited to be here to chat and just to have a good time. So you see me smiling all over, so I'm like, thank you.
Well, Jenn, I always like to start these things off because I always say every superhero has an origin story. And I got to ask you, Jenn.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready for this one.
Oh.
Ooh. Jenn, how did you get started in rugby?
Yeah, for sure. Wow. So I love that you asked that question because I was thinking about it today, and I was like, oh my goodness, I had a pop up on my phone from college in 2011, and 10 years ago. So it's been a decade, and
isn't it wild how quick that decade goes? Like,
yes,
you're just like, wait, it's 2020. Yo, wasn't it just 2009? Wasn't it like 20?
I know, it's wild. But so I went to Quinnipiac University in Connecticut, and I didn't go for sports. I just went to go to school, and I saw a flyer in my first week. This was the only time, I swear to you, that I went into the Storm. I never went into the Storm again, like the whole year. I just went.
It was meant to be. This was a call. You were compelled to find this over here.
I think so. I just went to the Storm, and I saw a flyer, and it was like, join rugby, like, email for info. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I only heard of rugby through Invictus.
Of course.
And then there's another movie like Never Strong, something strong.
Forever Strong. Yeah, yes. Forever Strong.
So I saw the sport before, and I remember watching. I'm like, oh, I'd like to try. And then I tried to search teams around the area. I'm from New York. The furthest was like Morristown, which was like an hour away. And I was like,
you know what's funny? My parents actually live right next to Morristown. They live in Morris Plains. So Morristown. Honestly, because of Morristown, is the only way my parents really are credible in the fact that rugby exists in the U.S. Otherwise, they're like, Gift, what are you doing? Like, there's nobody rugby out here. What are you doing?
But the fact that like a really well-known club is literally right next to them. So
right, only reason. Thank you.
For real, but that's the only club that I saw, and I was just like, okay. I was playing like two sports on two teams. There was no way I was able to travel. So I saw this flyer. I reached out to the coach. We had a meeting. Then we had tryouts. And they just, was trying to see if you were athletic and if you were able to catch a ball and whatnot. At Quinnipiac at the time, it was their first year on campus, but they were actually the first year being NCAA as well. We were the second Division I team in the country, NCAA. And joined a team with a bunch of other rascals. Like, we were like, okay, like, this will be fun. We made it. And, the rest was history. Obviously, at the time, it was learning the sport. I joined the team because I love challenges. I love taking risks and growing. And, I was an athlete all my life, and I wanted to find something like that in college. And for it to be NCAA, like, at the time, it was –
right off the bat, right.
Yeah, I was like, let's do it. But – I thought it was going to be a lot easier. I don't know what I stepped into, because I remember our first tackle practice, they were like, yeah, just like go. I'm like, all right. And they're like, no, you're not supposed to leave your feet. What are you doing? Like,
wait, you were launching yourself? What, you became the human rocket? You're just like, look, you're just going to go down. Like, don't.
I watch football, so I'm like, okay, that's what they do. Like, let me just replicate this. Wrong idea. But, yeah, I joined that Quinnipiac, and our first year, it was a brand new team. We lost every game. It's fine. The next year, same thing. We lost every game, but, our coaches were really behind us, and really, we were super fit. We're a small team, but super fit, and just, we're dedicated to working over the summer. By our junior year, we were beating all the teams that were crushing us, and then by my senior year, we were playing against Penn State, all these big teams, which is cool because we started – this is a little school in, like, Connecticut, like, who are these random people coming through? But yeah, that's how I found rugby.
Dude, that's awesome. It's interesting because I remember what was it? So 2013 is when I started covering rugby. So 2015 is around the time that I heard about Quinnipiac. And I think it took me up until maybe 2018 to realize that it wasn't in Canada.
Actually.
like I remember hearing, I was like, yo, Quinnipiac, this is this NCAA team. And I knew you guys had really great leadership because of the fact that it was always around. It was you guys, Penn State, Central Washington, I know, on the other side of the country. Mm-hmm. And I know there was other ones, but those are the names that came up. But Quinnipiac was always on the top five, always top five. So I remember the thing, I'm like, Man, that's really random that we have like random Canadian teams that are in this. I was like, okay, cool. Like, whatever. And literally, I think it was like 3 years ago where I was like, oh, they're in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Rugby making names for schools that I never would have even. This is in the same guise of a St. Bonaventure or
totally.
Any of the SUNYs. I never would have known. Even Lindenwood. Well, Lindenwood's 6 hours over here west of me. Never would have known its existence if it wasn't for rugby.
Oh, totally. Now they're like those names, and you're like, when you're not in the rugby environment, like, how do you not know those schools?
Right, that's literally how it goes. Like, come on now, you didn't know about them? Come on, Mount St. Mary? Come on, you don't know Mount St. Mary?
Right, right. You know, and Emmitsburg, Maryland.
Right, like, come on, who doesn't know that? That's the Berg. You guys think Pittsburgh clowns?
Right. No, it's so true. But yeah, but it's funny. By 2015. That's when I graduated, but that fall, they won their first championship. So, you know, as much, I like to say I love helping teams transition and build and being, you know, that it might not reap the benefits, which is sometimes I'm like, I want to ring two.
This is where you go, look, you need to posthumously give me the ring. I set you guys up, all right? I walked so that you guys could run.
Low key. Let me tell you, Gift, I definitely tried that, but they didn't give me a ring.
Oh, look, you coming back for that Hall of Fame jacket. That's why you're going to be like, look, I might not have gotten the ring, but we're going to get this jacket. You're going to make the jacket for me to it exist.
Right. But I like to say I was definitely a part of the building and the growth that provided, you know, amazing players after me to come and want to go to that school to like win those championships and, you know, just create more opportunities for women to go there and just in the NCAA realm period. So,
no, that's dope. Well, you said you had already been playing you'd been in athletics most of your life already. Mm-hmm. So besides the time that you decided to become the human rocket, what else were you playing? What else were you playing at the time? But before you started playing rugby?
I played basketball. So I played basketball pretty much my entire life. Softball.
You are truly a New Yorker. You are.
I played softball, basketball. I did a little bit of lacrosse and volleyball, but I stopped those. My main sports were basketball and softball. Fun fact: I actually was in the World Series for softball.
Oh, sure.
Senior League World Series, yeah.
Yo, let's go. Okay, see, again, the legendariness is starting to kick in. You know, they always got like that secret. You know, there's one sport, but it's like, oh yeah, you know, I was actually elite in like literally everything else. I just don't talk about it because you know I don't need it.
It's a fun fact. I like that. That's a cool fun fact that I like to say.
Yo, that's dope. So. Is sports something that has always been integral in your family, or is it just something that you gravitated to on your own and just kind of built out there?
Cool question. Yeah, it's definitely that I gravitated to on my own. My parents, my mom's from Mexico, my dad's from Haiti. They immigrated here years ago. My dad did track. My mom didn't do sports. You know, Mexican culture at that time. But I definitely, their characteristics, I think, led me to the sports. My mom was like, you know, the first woman in her gym to like work, like the first woman to enter like an all-male gym was like, yeah, no.
Yo, let's go. Breaking barriers.
Yeah, like I'm going to do this. But no, I mean, I was born in Brooklyn and then we moved out a few years into Rockland County up north. And I don't even know, honestly. Since I was little, I can't even remember the first, I don't know if it was T-ball or soccer. But from there, it was just like, yeah, every season, basketball, softball, soccer. I love to try everything. I tried lacrosse. I even did track. I was not a track athlete. Like, I was one of those kids at gym that did like a 16-minute mile. So, like...
Look, you say, look, I don't mind running, but you better give me a purpose because this running just to be able to run is not my gym. Wait. You don't do CrossFit because if you do CrossFit and you didn't do track, I'm gonna be like, Jen. Okay, now I can't rock with you. Your conflict of your paradoxicalness is too much right now.
But now I played sports. I loved playing them. You know, and I met my best friends. Like my best friends, my core group are from sports, and we've been friends for over 24 years. So, and they're still my best friends. So yeah, now just love to try it out. You know, and obviously the difference between the impact that sport makes on me as an adult is very different from a child. You know, I've got times to be busy, to have fun, and to make friends.
Right.
You know, extra activities. You know, stay out of trouble. Well, you know, I could have been a little rebel here and there, but.
You know, you got to push the boundaries a little bit. You got to see how flexible they are, right?
Exactly. But yeah, it's always been something that I've done since I was younger and supported by my parents to do it. So
that's dope. That's dope. You know, I know, especially as a person who is a product of immigrant parents as well, I know the sometimes it can be the initial difficulty of being able to show the seriousness of the sports, because again, it's always, I don't know for you, and I'm pretty sure it is, because Haitian dad and Mexican mom definitely relates in the same way Nigerian parents. Education comes first. You need to make sure the academics are through and through, and then, you know, everything else can come as a result of that. But and then they'll tell you about the struggle that happened at home and why you need to be able to take care of the stuff accordingly.
Right. And if there were anything less than what they expected, think twice.
Right. You know, so for you, whenever you did sports and you did all these different sports, was that part of the reason why you chose Quinnipiac? Like for schools, did sports play a factor, or was it just like, hey, I see random school in the middle of Connecticut north of me that even though I got a million other colleges in New York, why not I just go there? Like, what was that part of the decision, or how'd that work?
Okay, because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest as to why.
Let's go. Look. We are here about this transparency, Jen. Don't worry.
I'm here. I'm getting red. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted. I've always loved traveling. I wanted to go far away. Like I was looking in Illinois, Chicago, down south. Like I wanted to like peace. No, but Quinnipiac was my last possible option. I actually went to Quinnipiac because I went there with my boyfriend. He had a full scholarship.
Respect. You're a high schooler. You don't know better at that time. You just love.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly. But I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of it. No. You know, some people were like, what? But I'm the type, I'll make the best out of my opportunity. And I decided to go to my boyfriend had a full ride to play basketball, and I was like, okay, like, let's do it. Let's go. And I did, and I made sure that when I was there, I wanted to be known as Jenn Salomon, not
the boyfriend, the girlfriend of.
Yeah, we're cool. Like Justin's girlfriend. That was something I was just like, nope. Like I'm gonna make. But you know what? I found rugby, and I think everything happens for a reason. The choices you make, and if I never went to Quinnipiac, I would have never ever found rugby. And that's the reason why whatever decision I made brought me to that school. It was to find this phenomenal sport that will literally always be in my life.
Facts.
Until I like
until you have to turn to dust, will it be?
Exactly. So that's why I went to Quinnipiac. I loved KU. Like I loved it.
But you know what the thing is? That it makes sense. One, obviously to the factor of you randomly going to the store that you never went to again and never had really gone to before to find it. Like, it is true. Like, sometimes these things work for themselves for a reason. I know even for me, like, I'd lived in – I didn't discover, but I found out about Baton Rouge's rugby team after I graduated from college, which I was in Florida for. But in all the years that I'd been in, Louisiana prior, maybe 4 or 5 years, even on my campus, I promise you, I'd never seen one iota of rugby anywhere. I was all over that campus.
Really?
Never saw one iota of it. But when I came back, and it was a time where I also wanted to, like, I'd gotten used to playing something during college, and I went to school in Florida where I'd seen the rugby team, but I wasn't enticed to play at the time because I wanted to play football.
Okay.
But when I came back, and all of a sudden I randomly get the chance to look up rugby because I saw what was it? It was on NBC. It was USA Sevens. I saw USA Sevens on NBC, and I was like, "Oh, I remember they had rugby in Florida. It'd be funny if they had it in Baton Rouge." Wow. And lo and behold, they actually have it in Baton Rouge, which is unusual because nothing ever happens in Baton Rouge. And then lo and behold, they actually still exist. Say what?
But they had it there.
They had it there, and they were active too. And so, if it wasn't for that tidbit of coming back home to actually run into NBC, and because I can promise you I never watched NBC on a Sunday in 2000. Like that, it just doesn't exist. There was nothing happening. It wasn't football season. There was nothing. It was sheer boردom that occurred.
It was only like MTV or BET like run-throughs from the week music.
Basically, look, I don't even know if I might have just been playing Madden most of the time at that point in time. I just come out of college, so I was getting used to this like. Oh, I don't have to feel guilty about not studying 9 to 5. There's a lot more time. It's that post-graduation. I tell people, like, you underestimate how much time you have been wasting until you realize if you have a set schedule and those hours of nothing happening, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time.
A lot of time.
But the point is, you're right. These things happen in their own filter. So for you Quinnipiac, you graduate. What led you from Quinnipiac over to Northeast Academy? Because that's a massive jump that you're going to a national development camp from just really 3 years of rugby in college.
Yeah, so I played 4 years, but but technically, if you put it's crazy because like the seasons that we played, if you only put it together, actually time playing was probably like 2.5 years.
Wow.
But thanks. So I'm gonna kind of there's a lot of things in between. So
hey, this is a podcast. We got time, Jen. All right, we got time. You let it fly. This is your what do they call it? The autobiography of Jenn Salomon. Let's go.
Thank you. So I graduated. I wanted to go, like, my dream, I don't know why, but I was like, I want to go work in New York City. Like, I want to go work on Wall Street. Like, man, like, I want to show them that I can, I want to.
You're breaking barriers. My mom breaking into gyms. I'm already hitting people like, who are these guys got on me? Plus, the super New Yorkness. I'm going to keep referencing your super New Yorkness that's clearly coming through.
No, but I was like, I want to go work in the city. Like, okay. So from there, I ended up going to go coach instead. And at Sacred Heart University. And at the time, I was coaching every day. Like, I obviously still loved the game. I was around it all the time. I just wasn't playing. So I started playing that next fall for New Haven 15s. There was a team that just started there, so played there. I had a really good.
He was your coach then, right?
No, he wasn't.
No, okay.
No, because he's over at Hartford, but it's close.
Sorry, I got the two guys. I just knew Connecticut. My bad. I apologize.
No worries. One of my really good friends, Sean McGarity, he's from Connecticut. He was playing for Old Blue. Yeah. And Old Blue had a women's team at the time. So that following summer, he's like, hey, like, you should come play sevens. I never really played sevens before. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, like, you can hang. Like you have good skills. Like, come, try it out. I was like, okay. So even though I'm from New York, I was living in Connecticut. I'm like, all right, twice a week. We started just commuting all the way from New Haven to the Bronx, like, twice a week to train. And I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I can hang. At the time, I did come, Quinnipiac wasn't known. So it was a little intimidating, like, playing with teammates that have been playing for, like, big names, Penn State, all these, like, really, really big rugby names. But I was like, I showed up, I'm like, oh, okay, like, I can hang, Like, this is.
But y'all don't, I'm here with y'all.
This is cool. Like, all right. So I started playing for Old Blue Women. I played there for 2 years. I was like, I found sounds. I was like, wait, I think this is the game for me. I'm like, whoa, because in 15s, like, I was a prop.
So you're limited in. It's basically, you're here for close the ruck, set the scrum, crash over, set the ruck again.
What position do you play?
I'm a flanker, so I live within. So this is I'm within your element. I understand. This is the wolf pack life, like
for real. You go hunt and let's go. Let's do the work. But I played. I was in the pack, so like being able, I had really good like distributing skills, even as a prop, but I never got to do it. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. So I played for Old Blue for 2 years. That following the second summer, I was playing against New York Rugby Club all the time, and we were the biggest competitors. And I'm like, oh, like, why do you keep winning? I'm so annoyed. I want to win. So Richard Chadwick, he was coaching their 7th team and was the assistant 15s, and he was like, hey, like, come play 15s this fall. And I was like, I'm thinking, like, this is my first club out of college. Like, I want to be loyal. He's like, just come play 15s. They don't have a 15s team. Come play 15s. Let me know what you think after. We ended up winning the WPL championship that fall. So I stayed. Okay.
I feel like that's a good incentive to be like, hey, look, I like loyalty, but this winning thing, man, it hits different.
Oh, it hit me far. It hit me we were training in the Bronx. Now we train in the Chelsea, which is lower west Manhattan. So it shot me down all the way down south.
I feel like isn't that a significantly longer trip? Like, don't you have to get to Grand Central and then you have to transfer through?
It takes forever. So when you said it hit too different, it hit me all the way down to Manhattan. That's how it hit me. Okay. So, and mind you, I was traveling from Connecticut, so that's a whole nother hour.
Yo, this is true investment. Like this is how you know you loved what you were doing, because that is a legitimate investment of time, especially with the trains.
Yeah, it was a lot. But come Northeast Academy, they started, training, and I started joining their sessions. I was just joining, like, my friends would pull me along. I wasn't in the pool yet,
right?
But I was like, no, like I want to do this. So then
you were doing Northeast Academy in New York simultaneously.
Yeah, so New York Northeast Academy is kind of like an all-year-round thing where their training sessions. Sorry, I don't know if you hear the sirens.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, we know that we know you live in these streets. No, I'm playing.
Sorry, I was like, oh, I hear it. But yeah, so Northeast Academy is like an all-year-round thing where they'll pull the athletes from the Northeast, and we'll actually train pretty much almost simultaneously on different dates, but maybe once a week, twice a month.
Is it located directly in New York, or is it kind of like outset like Westchester area? I never really understood where you guys actually train, where the academy actually set itself up as.
No, that's a great question. So it's covered the Northeast, but the coaching staff is out of New York City. Okay. The training used to be kind of solely in New York City, but now it's Boston, New York, or Connecticut. So it covers the whole Northeast, which is good. So more talent can attend and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much, kind of put my foot in the door in Northeast. Training and learning more about the game. Coaching really helped me as a player and seeing the game differently. And then I got called to my first tour. I believe it was Barbados in 2017 in the December. Yeah. And from there, it kind of gave me that high performance taste and travel and tours and rugby. And I was like, I want to do this more. I want any opportunity I can get. I'm doing it.
I feel like that's the realest part, because I think I know even for me, so playing at home is nice. You play basically the same teams. You get to know people. There's something fun. I got my first taste of being able to play internationally when I went to Japan in 2016. Didn't think it was going to be anything significant. And I literally only got to play off of the luck that I wanted to just cover them, because Rugby World Cup was about to happen. In 3 years. So I was like, let me go ahead and let me just meet one of the teams and we get an idea. And they were like, oh no, if you pay XYZ, you can come out and play. And I was like, all right, let's go play.
Yes.
And I got out and I was just like, oh, this place it's different. And of course, the playing location was the most perfect place to start off internationally. There's this place called Sugadaira, Japan. If you ever get a chance to go, I recommend it. All they have there is rugby and skiing. They got 110 rugby fields, and they got these ski mountains out in the back. And then the way set up their it was so dope. The way they even set up their opening ceremony, it's like a military march. Everybody comes in with their colors and just walks in a line, all the teams together to this podium, and then had some random dude talking. I didn't know what they were saying because it was experience. whole experience, full thing. I was like, this is bloody amazing. And then as a result of playing with them, it gave me a chance to kind of work my way through Asia. So I had a chance to play in Thailand and Vietnam and then accordingly. And it was like a different feel. Like I was like you, I was like, I have to do this constantly. Like I need to play in other places. I've always heard stuff, and you know, people will talk about New Zealand and go to South Africa. And you're at some point, like if you haven't done it, for me, I get kind of like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's so great to play over here. But this American life, no, that died. I was like, no, I need to play over here. Play in different countries. It's like, let me flex this passport as much as I can, because this is
for sure. For sure. I'm with you 100%. That's the motto of today, that hits different. It really does. Like I had one taste and I was like, friends, rugby,
right?
Different country, culture.
What?
Why not?
Feed my soul. Feed my soul.
You're speaking to me. I'm telling you.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. You know, like, I want to ask, before I kind of touch into the international part, like for you, you've had these 3 levels and you play them down a lot, but they're really high levels of being able to play rugby. You know, Quinnipiac at the NCAA level, even if they were just starting, the idea of being able to get those advantages have to have been really beneficial, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you hit it on the mark.
And so you take that, and then you have Old Blue, a legendary club in New York, transfer to New York Rugby, and then you're getting Northeast Academy. For you, as you're developing through this, what is it that you felt was changing the most in your rugby development as you maneuver through these variations of programs? Because it's a very unusual situation. You had a very blessed situation, but for you, how did you feel you were growing accordingly as you moved through it?
Okay, yeah, I'm loving these questions, by the way.
Hard. All right, we come with it.
I love them because it also, going off topic real quick, I think it makes me really reflect on my past journey, and like be thankful about it. So that's cool. So thank you.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. So I think the growth for me was, I've said this a lot, like just to friends and people, like if I talk bigger picture first, it's, when I joined rugby, I played rugby. Right. I wasn't a rugby player. Like I played rugby, you
were the person that was just involved, but it had not enveloped you yet.
Exactly. I just played. Like I love I'm competitive. I love competition. I love, I don't want to. I like the social part. I like to call it the teamwork part, because the social part was cool, but like that's not why I did it. Like that was my last.
That was an addition. That was an addition.
Yeah. Now I mean it's different now. Right. But yeah, and over time I think it was like actually being a student of the game. In college, like I'm not even gonna lie, I wasn't a student of the game. Like I did what I was asked to do, but did I do extra? No, because I just learned the sport. Right.
This was the leisure sport that happened to catch on, but it wasn't the next level investment. It was like, yo, this is fun, like extracurricular activity.
Right. And I'm gonna go hard. Like I'll go hard, I'll train hard, fitness, but to learn the game, it was still so new. But over time, as I started going through these different teams and actually believing in myself and that, I'm like, oh, like maybe I can like get somewhere with this. I started becoming a rugby player, like I didn't just play rugby, like I learned the game and the biggest, now getting smaller, in terms of smaller picture, it's, my skills and just like literally game IQ. Right. Like the amount of, I would watch film hours. I'd watch the same, I'll tell you exactly what like teams I watched. Yeah. So I would watch Australia, New Zealand women religiously. I watched everyone, but Australia, New Zealand.
I mean, that's creme de la creme right there. So it makes the most sense.
Everything. And, you know, I remember they were when I first started playing sevens, they were like, yeah, you're going to be a sweeper 9. I'm like, I will be the biggest 9 ever. I'm like.
But think about how much of an advantage that also ends up being.
I know, but I was just like, whoa, okay, like, cool. So I started studying. I watched Tom Mitchell from England Sevens. He was one of my go-tos. I would watch his games. Like, he's an amazing playmaker, like, leader, everything, and I love the way he plays. I watched him, like,
if it wasn't for the Olympics and him having defeated USA Rugby that with a 21-0 comeback, I'd be like, yes, Tom Mitchell. But right now I'm still a little bitter about that. So,
I know.
But it's okay. It's okay.
We got Tom Mitchell, Dan Bibby, and I loved watching South Africa, Spec Magic, like just the way they played and they're distributing. Because, you know, they said I was going to be 9. I was like, okay, so I guess I'm a distributor, so let's watch the best. And, Madison Hughes. So would be definitely just like growing in the game and being able to see the game differently and skills. But just the overall investment, like you said, that I started putting into learning more and getting better is what definitely changed over time.
Is there when was the moment that you felt like rugby clicked for you? Like that moment where you were just like, yo, I'm seeing this now. Because we always have that, like you said, there's that moment whenever we start playing. Like I remember when I started playing, it was, you know, I was just like, okay, I mean, I get this. I already understand competition. I played football, so connective sports does not throw me. But that moment where it was just like, oh, I'm seeing how to see down the line, or I'm getting where the positioning is coming from, as opposed to me reacting. I kind of am starting to maybe be more intuitive with it.
Cool. Yeah.
Like for you, when was that moment for you that you started feeling like this settled into you?
Definitely. I would have to say 2018 for me personally, and like in my sense, was a big year for me in terms of that growth and like finally feeling like, whoa, okay, like I'm starting to really get into my role and what I have to do and like actually make, put people into space. Not only, you know, like I really got into that mindset. Magli Harvey?
Of course.
From Canada. So I played with her in Dubai first year in 2018. Yeah. But I remember like her saying, she was like, when you are playing offense, like you dictate the defense. You're not like, don't attack based on what the defense is giving you, make them defend. But it's interesting because it's a different way of thinking. Like obviously I think that's the obvious thing, right? But I don't think we always think like that. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. Again, it's perspective change. It's the difference the difference of I'm reacting to versus I'm controlling. It's the simpler word, but I mean, is that it gives you more control over what your aspects are doing.
Keyword. That's what it's controlling. Literally taking into control, and like even if the defense is giving you a certain picture, like if you're able to execute and you know your strengths and skills and who's around you, you can control that situation, not the defense. So it was definitely it's more broad, but 2018 leading into that 2019, I was just playing so much rugby. Any opportunity that I got, I went. Like any tour, any playing touch, any practice, practicing with my student athletes. So I was getting rugby in not only like in the evenings, but when we were practicing, I jumped right in and I was training with them.
Nice.
So that helps so much. And I can't remember exactly a point, but if there's one, it would be Nationals in 2018, because that felt really good. But it was definitely that year leading into the end of like 2018, leading into 2019, that I'm like, okay, like I'm getting it. Yeah, this is cool. Because we didn't play sevens in college. So I didn't.
It really only has become a thing in the last maybe 5 years. Maybe like a little bit right before the last Olympics, I feel like is whenever sevens became like, okay, let's start really heavy. But it was always that's a side thing that you do before 15s.
Exactly. Actually, that's true. I started playing sevens summer of 2016. So and that's the Olympics. So yeah, it's pretty much, it's a broad, but
no, but it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. So, so kind of going back to what the internationals part for you, what was you come off of Barbados, and now you've had this chance to be able to take rugby from your region. Now you've taken it overseas, for lack of a better word. For you, like, I guess maybe let me ask this: where has rugby taken you since you've been playing? Since the Barbados, where have you been able to go as a result? Because you got a nice little list on you.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've been to Dubai 3 times. I've played in Dubai Sevens 3 times, and I will play, or I will attend as a spectator until I'm turned to dust. Okay. No, I will. Best tournament I've ever been to. I've been to Barbados, Costa Rica, Peru, Cayman Islands, Hong Kong. Monaco. I've been to Australia. I was visiting my friend, but I played rugby out there.
Right. Still counts.
In Germany, I was in Germany visiting friends. Found a club, practice it in Berlin.
Still counts.
Yeah. Spain. Why? I feel like there's more, but I'm like.
Let me go get my passport. Whoop, boom.
Now I forget where. But yeah, all over. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for the sport that's able to just lead me to not only to these amazing locations and cultures, but like to meet amazing people. Because you're in the rugby community. You can meet someone like after playing in, for Northeast, I was like, I need this. So I actually found a team to play in Dubai. I wasn't selected my first year, 2017. I found this Canadian team that was going, and I was like, they're looking for players, and I was like, hey, this is my resume. Can you take another player? And they were like, yeah, come on. I paid my way there, paid my way to play, and after that, I was like, oh, I'm coming back.
Right.
And next years, I've been with Phoenix with A.L. Hakeem, who coached. Of course,
just got married the other week. Yeah.
Exactly. He coached that Ravens team. He was the guest coach, and that's how I met him. And after that, I was like, hey, let's take a team every year with American players, and we've been doing that every year since 2017. Dude,
I love hearing that, because it's one thing that I've really actively advocated for, because I think there's a different thing that happens in your brain when you are able to travel and you allow yourself to travel and get engulfed into culture, as opposed to try and have the culture asphyxiate itself to you. Because I think there's a difference. I think there's some people who will travel and they're like, I just want my home experience, but just in a different country. Right. That's not real traveling to me. That you literally you moved, you were mobile, but you didn't travel, right? But in the situation when you get to experience the other culture, I think it changes something in your mind, because it takes away some of the propaganda kind of elements that we get at home, because reality gets pushed in, and you're like, wait, something's off, something's different here. It's not the same. For you, say what you're about to say.
I just want to add to that, and I really love that you say that perceptions, and just a small, quick small story, and I hope, go on, Mark, go at it. So obviously we definitely have a certain perception here of Islam and that, the religion and the Middle Eastern culture. My first experience in Dubai, being out there and experiencing the religion, the culture, the people, obviously there's the extreme side. That's a whole different story.
And that's the key right there.
That
strong middle. The extremes get played out so heavy that you forget that strong middle ground in between. Exactly.
And I have nothing but love. The experience, things that I've witnessed, we were out in the dunes, and a dune flipped over, and our driver was just please, give me 1 second, went out, helped them, and the way they just thanked each other, I was almost in tears, because obviously I had a certain perception,
Of course.
From here, and I was moved. You know, him driving us around, asking us if we can stop to pray during his prayer time. Absolutely. You know, it was just beautiful, and it's, you know, like you said, being able to go and experience these cultures, and I love going there, and I'm so thankful that I was able to experience and witness and be a part of that, because, you know, we're all good people at the end of the day, and it was just really, really cool. And that when you mentioned like perception, the whatever stereotype is out there, it's go immerse yourself and see for yourself if that's exactly like what we see and think and hear.
And I think I give similar story. Whenever I went to Vietnam, all right, prior to going to Vietnam, if you had told me that Vietnam, the effects of the Vietnam War were still in effect, you know, that it was a war torn, it was basically like another the other country that's near not Borneo. I can't remember, but I could have sworn. I thought it was just, I was like, yo, you know, they're going to be feeling the effects still, you know, hard country. Everybody just tries to do what they do. And I got a little bit of a heads up from my brother, because he didn't go to Vietnam, but he had been staying in China in Hong Kong for a little bit. And he had told me, he was like, oh, you know, Vietnam's like a vacation spot. I was like, shut up, get out of here. Right.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, it's really a vacation. I was like, all right, whatever. So when I had the opportunity to go after joining this team that I'd met in Tokyo back in 2016, got to go to Vietnam in 2018, I get down and I'm like, oh my gosh, yo, this place is dope. And here's the other thing, and I always kind of like to speak on this one, because I think especially as a Black person, you know, it can be hard out there for Black people in different areas, but I think there gets to be such an element of conversation of how much the world works against Black folk that you start to get jaded to the idea before you even get to reach it. So going to Vietnam, and I'm going to actually just say Asia in general, it's Southeast Asia specifically, and Japan, but Southeast Asia specifically, when I went out there, when I tell you my narcissism got stroked so much, those people were so encouraging and so loving. So many pictures. And when you talk about like, it felt like a celebrity, but it wasn't even just like that. It was just like everybody was genuinely cool. Like genuinely cool. Like even the stuff that I won't even say I got scammed. I poorly negotiated. The ones that I poorly negotiated, right? Like I respect the person. No, I'm gonna go get my money. I understand that. But he showed me a good time. Like he gave me stuff. I didn't care for the cost, but he showed me a good time. And I was like, yo, even at that, it was great. The people were awesome. And this was not a war-torn nation by any means. Like this place was beautiful. Like it was super fun. It was everything I didn't expect. And then of course it got topped off on the factor that I stayed in a hostel that had some of the coolest people I could ever meet that I'm still cool with to this day.
Amazing.
And so the experience gave me this, let me know just how much you have to shut down kind of the preconceived notions. You can have a warning. I also understand, you know, I'm a guy too, so I have different elements that work in my favor. But to say that this was the safest place I've ever been, like Southeast Asia is the safest I have ever, safe to the point that I can't live there. It's too safe. I drop my guard way too much. I need the threat of the U.S. I need to look over my shoulder. A little bit because I am uncomfortable with how comfortable it is to be out here. And it got re-verified whenever we did this bike ride through Southeast Asia. But it speaks to it, like it changes it, and all of a sudden it's like all I want to do now, and especially because rugby gives that opportunity, is to just go hit every rugby country. I got 128 to play with and then some, you know, and just get hit all of, because you're just like, okay, I'm here to demystify this because it is not as dangerous as it is. It might not be as it's kind of that middle ground where you're like, yo, no place is as terrible as they would say it is. It's never as great as it is, but it is a perfect center. And I think that every country has a characteristic that can work to your favor. So it's like, you know, like. Yeah,
for sure.
What's the best way to even say? Like, I'll use another example.
Yeah.
USA, for example, right? A lot of people go, best country in the world, da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, USA is great if you work within the characteristic that works with the US. US is a high ceiling, low floor country. So if you're a person who likes to or tries to find ways to really just excel, the US can work in your favor. But it's also a very unforgiving country. So if you're a person who just wants to kind of chill and coast and just enjoy your moment, the US isn't always very favorable for that because it doesn't give you a lot of leeway in terms of how far you go. They'll let you drop. Whereas
the way you explain that.
Whereas in a different example, Japan is a location that is a very middle ground area. Even though they work a lot, if you work within this element where you want to do your job and just be able to do your job, Japan protects you from the bottom. They don't let you fall very far. Your healthcare is taken care of up to a certain point. You have everything, but it's very difficult to rise up very fast. So they put a cap after a certain point and make you really either have to force earn it or something, but
or just wait,
or wait your way through. So it works in the characteristic. Hey, if you're I like my being strong middle. Yo, a place like Japan works. Even Bangkok to some extent, it works. This is where I think it becomes the culture clash that people have internally, where it's like, what country really actually works favorably to your characteristics? And even within the local element, even if there's the advantage of being American, so you also have a different perspective of how you look at things. But even within that, the opportunities can vary. Nigeria is another high ceiling, very low floor. But if you can make it work really well for you. If it doesn't, they are not very forgiving.
Not in your favor, yeah.
Exactly. So traveling allows that ability, and I think it's something that just people need to go experience.
100%. It really expands your mind, your soul, your heart, like everything. It's amazing.
Facts.
It's amazing.
So kind of going back to what we were talking about, when it came to the traveling for you, where was it that you felt was this is what I wanted to how much did you travel prior to rugby versus what you started doing afterwards?
A lot. As much as I could. So yeah, my parents are from different countries and they, it's just so I traveled a lot. Like after my freshman year, I went to Spain for the whole summer and stayed with family friends and tried to do the little European summer.
Did you go backpacking?
It wasn't backpacking, but there was a moment where I tried to go from Rome to Ibiza and almost had to panhandle off Ibiza. So
I only decided to go to the wealthiest place in Spain.
I lost the ATM ate my card. I had and then obviously at that time it was Western Union. It was a nightmare. It's fine. So in the summer, I spent the summer in Spain. The next year, this is again my bug for leaving and traveling. And the only time I could do it was during the summer. I couldn't study abroad. My commitment to rugby was, they were like, you shouldn't, but you can. And I don't want to miss the team stuff during the year. In the next year, I went to China and I did an internship in China in Tianjin. So I was out in China.
The bank, right?
I was working at a pharmaceutical company called Tasly. Yeah, Tasly Pharmaceuticals. So I was out there. Super cool, living in our we were in Tianjin, living in Tianjin Weigo Yudashui, which is the university, the foreign university in there. And then the next summer, entering my senior year, I moved out to LA, to Venice with my roommate, and I got an internship in West Hollywood, and we lived there for 3 months before I had to come back to school. So I'm always
so this was always more. It was less of a culture shock and more of just a perfect melding into everything that was needed.
I love that. I've never seen that before. Yes, I'm out here learning too. I'm like, wait, this is so right. this is
bring
it.
it together. Look, you're giving. I want to be able to give. We work. This is the partnership that works, right?
Yeah, it really was like, yeah, it was because I'm always on the move.
Right.
It's just like who I am, and this past year not being able to, like, there are great things about, being home with family and being closer, but
you get itchy.
It's cliche. Yeah, it's cliche. People are like, oh, wanderlust. Like, no, it's like in me. It's always been in me. So.
No, I can feel that fully. Look, I give a lot of gratitude. My parents kind of had us move around a lot within the States. And I think to the detriment, even my parents are like, I didn't mean to have you guys move around like this. Like,
what are you doing?
I'm like, you guys started this. I didn't start it. I just am taking the benefit from it. But it makes it where it's just like, I don't want to be in one place too long. And I thank rugby a lot for giving me an additional excuse to be able to do it, like from a work-wise, because prior to it would have been like I had to intentionally think of having to go places. Like, it's a different feeling whenever you're like, okay, I was like, all right, let me go plan this trip versus like, yo, we got to go take a rugby trip. We got to go out to Tennessee. Like, even traveling to South, never would have traveled the South without rugby. I would have been like, yo, we need to go somewhere vastly overseas or something like that. But even internally, it was like, oh, okay, I need to go to Atlanta. Oh, we need to go to Knoxville. Oh, we need to go to exactly. So it creates that generating bug where all of a sudden, whenever you step out, now it's like, okay, I got a taste of Japan. Oh, we got to go to okay, we go into we really got to go travel this out. Like, and now it just it taps a different realm. But I understand that feeling when it comes to the itch, because once you have it, it's you need to scratch it. You have that passport for a reason. Use that passport.
That's right. That is right. Can we make this like a what are those public announcement right there?
This is a public service announcement, people. Use your passport. Go get your passport.
Let's go. Get your passport. Buy that flight. Don't wait. Go.
No, and it's not even as expensive as people think it is to travel, or it hasn't been in the last several years.
Yeah, I agree.
That part I've been surprised. I think that always hindered people.
I agree with you. And I think it's also, again, similar to the culture thing, is just being open and willing to adapt to change and any, like something, when you're traveling. But also, are you going to go to a resort, or are you looking for experience? You can do that when you're there. Like, if you plan it, it's possible. Right. It's possible.
So, all right. So kind of like connecting these in. So you have this illustrious career so far that you've been able to play with all these different teams and jump on. What made you decide to go ahead and jump on to Mexico's team that would lead you to this repechage? Well, how is it called? Do you know how it's called?
Yeah.
Repechage?
You're asking the wrong person. It's funny because when I say it, it's like I start saying it confidently, and then when you hit the G-E, I'm like, repechage.
You know what? I blame the French.
I know in Spanish, repechajes, but in English, I still don't know what it's called. So you're good. I don't know.
All right. Well, we're gonna go the R word. All right. What is it in Spanish?
Repechaje.
Okay, we're gonna go with the repechage. I actually literally feel better about that than any other Latin-based word that it was supposed to be.
That's funny.
But so for you, like, what was it that led you to? How did you lead yourself over to the Mexico team? Because I talked to them way back 2014, 2015. Always a growing team that's there. But for you, what was the motivation?
Definitely. So when I first started with Northeast, the goal is USA, like USA Sevens, let's go. And to fill in, to follow the footsteps of some amazing players and athletes that have come through the US pathway. So as the year started going by, kind of like, I'm like, okay, well, this is like, I don't think this is going to happen. Like, that's okay. I still want to play Northeast Academy and play the highest I can. And Mexico still at that moment didn't really come in mind. I entered the 15 pool. I think it was early 2019. They were doing the regional training centers. So I was going to those and whatnot. So, I was like, okay, like maybe 15s, like we'll see. Like I hadn't been called to like an actual camp or anything yet at that time. I was saying yet, like I was working my butt off. I went to, it was the Las Vegas Sevens. RIP Vegas Sevens. Oh, Vegas Sevens.
Although we've come to the
wow. I know. Oh, and so that was in 2019. My Phoenix coach, so AL, earlier, right before Vegas Sevens, he was like, hey, like, have you ever thought about playing for Mexico? And I was like, oh, like, I never thought about that. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like, I was entertaining the thought. They're like, they're going to be out in Vegas. Like, you should check them out. You should talk to the coach. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so we were in Vegas. I watched Mexico play, saw the potential, saw the talent. Was kind of just said hi to the coach. It wasn't really like, oh, like, let's chat. It was just like, hi.
Just an introduction, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm Mexican. Like, hablo español. Like, I'm fluent. Like, you know what I mean? So then after that, I received an email from him right after Vegas Sevens, and he was just like, before I get, I'll say after. I get an email from him. He's like, hey, like, would love to come, love to invite you to a camp this next weekend. Like, would you want to come? I'm like, yeah. So I went down there for the weekend. We, stayed at the center, the Mexican their training center, met the girls, was able to hang out with them, meet them, play some rugby with them. We had some scrimmages, met the president at the time, like met everyone. So it was super cool. They had it was also like a youth field day when we were scrimmaging. So it was.
So you get I mean, for lack of a better word, it's almost a very red carpet experience right now.
I was like, yeah, I'm like, this is awesome. So, I came back and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, like I guess I'll have time to decide if I want to pursue this or, try to like go for the US. And I've been thinking about it leading up to that when, AL first brought it up to me, pros and cons. I'm like, they are a, young, experienced team. The ages are young to old, but the experience, the international experience, I can really go in there and make an impact and play. And, did the cons as well, having to travel back and forth, not being able to train with them as often as I would like to. Same thing with the U.S. Like, that was the goal at the time, and I want to play with my friends. You know what I mean? I want to grind and play with my friends. I want to represent the jersey of the U.S. At the end of the day, my main reason when I had the opportunity to go compete for them was a few things. Was to represent my mother's country, and my whole family. That was a huge gift for them. Like, they are thrilled. And the support is like no other. This has also allowed me to go back to Mexico more often and be with them and spend time with them, which is, something that I'll never be able to put anything on. It's my family. Two, for some reason, Gift, I love being a part of transitions and building teams. It's literally in my core. And as much as it sometimes is super frustrating, they have those moments where I just want to like, why am I doing this? Like, what's going on? And like, I want results fast, but I know it's about the process and the journey.
Right.
I know that I can make my greatest impact with Mexico, not only in my own development, but impacting the next generation. There are athletes on the team that have played more international rugby at that level on this team than me, and they're only 22, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, they played in the World Cup. Like, that's phenomenal. And I, being around coaching, I do love youth or young, young women. And, it's like, hey, I was at Quinnipiac. I helped like build Quinnipiac as an athlete. I helped transition Sacred Heart as a coach. why not go and do the same for a country? Like, you know what I mean? And for me, I'm not gonna lie, it was a difficult decision. I think I struggled with it a little bit after, but the experiences that I have to date, the connections I've made with my teammates, the support I have from the coaching staff, the new one and the one prior, this is an experience that I'm gonna have for a lifetime, and I'm only getting started. Like, it's not like I'm joining and I don't know like when the next time I'm gonna get called. Like, as long as I work hard and do what the coaches ask me to, like,
gonna be there. I'm
gonna be there, you know, and I can travel. And another thing, it's sevens. I love 15s, and I do really enjoy 15s. I'm like, oh, sevens or 15s. But the fact that sevens has that traveling, you know, what the tournaments are going to be. You're going here, you're going there. You're meeting all these different teams, all these different people. Like, that was really attractive to me. And yeah, like it was the when I had to make the decision after that camp, I get a text immediately when I get home to New York from the coach, and he's like, hey, we have an opening spot. Like, we have an injury. Do you want to come to Hong Kong? I'm like, when? He was like in a few days, like at the tournament.
Yo!
I was like, what? I'm like, this is insane. He's like, for the World Series qualifier, like, do you want to come to Hong Kong? And I was like, yes, I do.
No.
So I flew right to Toronto, met the team in Toronto, and then we flew to Hong Kong, and it was my first cap in April of 2019.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Like,
it was crazy, to be honest.
But I can imagine, like, all the work you've put into this time. Do you consider yourself to be a natural, maybe a natural teacher might be the wrong, but, and do you find yourself gravitating more and more to teaching?
To teaching?
Yeah.
Like teaching?
In general. Just in general.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Or being like that mentor type.
Right.
Even at practice, like, I'm so extra gift, like literally just at practice on Tuesday, at the end we had 10 minutes, and they were like, you guys can do what you can do, concepts or skills. I literally went and I chose like 3 new teammates that I had, and I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, Wanu, Cammie, Michaela. I'm like, you're with me whether you like it or not. Let's go. But they were struggling, and you know, I was like, let's walk through this. We have time, like, so definitely, yeah.
Oh. So, because whenever you say you love the transition process, like, it makes sense, because and maybe it goes into what you kind of were talking about with Magley Harvey and the offense. There's a difference between whenever you're just a player and you're kind of going with the coast of things, it's reactive. But whenever you get a chance to be part of the transition, you're actually being able to dictate and control what the situation. It taps into your inner scrum half one way or another. You know, you get to distribute out, and it's just like, it might not be in the most perfect situation, but that's what makes it even more interesting, because you actually get to see what it is. You get to see legitimate, definitive growth, as opposed to just being part of that program itself.
And honestly, Gift, like, as you know, I think in general with because we're humans, sometimes we don't see that. We want those fast results. But I've been through it at Quinnipiac. I saw us like get smashed and then start winning, and that's what made my experience there the best.
Right.
You know what I mean? Same thing for Sacred Heart. Like, 6 years of like building, and then we started winning, and it's like, yes, you know,
I was like, yo, that's wild.
And those moments where you're jumping on the sideline because, you know, like, finally, you know, and it's the same thing here. Like, it's about the process. Life, it's about the process, and you have to learn how to love it. And that's going to be the most rewarding for me. Like, where can I make the most impact and really inspire others, but also like really put myself and challenge myself where can I go individually as well? Not only like the team aspect, but like, all right, let's go. Like, here's a challenge for me, and I'm going to set a goal, and let's go. Let's see if I can do it. And it's awesome. I mean, I've, like, even going to Monaco, seeing the change from there to our last game is incredible. So I'm super excited. Like, it's still 2022 is a big, big year for Mexico in the tournaments that we have. And yeah, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. You know, maybe One of my coaches told me this once early on when I made my decision. He's like, hey, what was your goal in the first place? I was like, I want to be the best I can be. I want to play the top level. He's like, same destination, different path.
You're right. Like that's the thing. When you know you're getting the opportunities to tap into these elements, again, the surface results might not seem it, but it's like, yo, you're doing it. Like you are literally look, even with the repechage, you got to play amongst the best. Like that's you are part of a 1% that will ever play in all of sports. In history, you're a very tiny, even less. You're an even smaller percentage of history that got a chance to be in that.
See, am I reflecting? You're so right. You're so right. It's amazing. Mike St. Clair, he plays for Jamaica.
Yeah, I know the name. I don't know the person.
So we met at Old Blue, really good friend of mine, and we were in.
I'm lying. I do know who he is.
Yeah, Milkshake Mike. We were in Monaco together, and we were just all the athletes had the same eating hour, so we were sitting together eating breakfast, and we were just like kind of people watching. And I've known Mike now for 5-6 years since I've been on Northeast Old Blue, and he was like, "You remember like when we used to be in Vegas and we'd watch those athletes coming into the tunnels and we'd be amazed by them?" He's like, "We're them now." Like, right? He's like, no matter what, like the result is of a game, whatever, he's like, we are here. Like you said, we're playing against the best in the world. And that was like a moment for me that I was just like, it kind of like, in the movies when they have those flashbacks and there's like 400 different memories and then you're like, oh, I'm here right now. That's what happened. It was phenomenal.
Yo, that's real though. It's something that I've started learning about more and more. Sorry, my cat's being the worst right now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, no worries.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, so one thing that I've kind of come to learn, and even in doing this media stuff, because initially, for me, it was how do I get to the Olympics? It was, can I get through as a player, or is it better as media? What is my highest chance? And then there. I wanted to go through Nigeria. I wanted to represent, but decided to go as media. But as I got more and more into it, I started. I think it's the this is gonna sound wrong, but it's like the fandom drop, because it got to be more and more of, not fandom as in I liked rugby less. I mean the fandom of like starstruckness, because now it became less of, oh my gosh, those are those people that are over there. They're rising above it. They are, this is something that historically in our minds there's always been like, yo, this is away. This might be out of my reach. There's only a set few people, and they have to be the most amazing people ever to do it. And then when you get to experience it, and you're like, no, it's just the work that was done. And then you go like, yo, they did work. I did work. I get to see this. I'm getting to see there. Like it becomes surreal while also simultaneously being very normal. And you're like, oh, y'all are just people. It's not, you didn't join the Illuminati. It's not, it was just, y'all just did some work. You guys had some breaks. Don't get me wrong, but it worked out. And it's like, oh man, this is wild, because there's like, I'll sit there sometimes listening, social media, and of course, and you'll see people talk, and you're just like, I don't really see what the big deal is. And then you're like, oh, right. Yo, because it's a different experience, because you found the process, and most people aren't going to take that process. And it's not to make it a belittlement. It stands how much work. It should be basically saying you should be happy with what you've been doing in essence. Yeah.
No, I 100% agree with you. And, I think like any normal person, you get those like what ifs moments.
Of course. You should. Like there's a little bit of an imposter syndrome that comes in where you're like, Am I really worthy to be here right now?
I went through that like pretty bad at one point. It's, after a lot of reflecting and, a lot of mindfulness and meditation and, really looking within. I know it sounds super like, but it's true. Yeah, I am very, very happy. And, it took a lot of work and the work's not done, but I'm so happy and I'm so grateful because when I look back, even this moment here with you, we're out here reminiscing, we're talking, but like all these opportunities just to talk to some cool people, memories, like these are the things. Well, even when I'm done thinking about rugby, I'm not going to remember like when we won. Maybe we won like a really, really big game.
Right.
But it's going to be those connections that you have, that you create with people that are still going to be in your life 10, 15, 5 years down the road. Like that's what it's really about, like no one's going to care if I won or not,
But it's so true. Even now to this day, I'm, it's funny because a lot of people think that I have connections, and I'm like, I don't have connections. I'm just reaching out. Like, I don't know what's going on. But then you kind of sit back, you're like, I've really gotten to know people. But it's weird because growing up, it was always like, I don't really understand how people develop their networks. Like, unless you've been friends with them for like 20 years, 30 years, and you grew up with them and somehow it connected to something else. Right. You're just like, all right, it got there. But, within this sport, it's for whatever, intentionally or not, it's like you start to create, you just get to know people. It's just easy. It just creates an easy pathway of getting to know people. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're like, oh, that person. Oh, yeah, I know them. It's blah, blah. And this is blah, blah. And, from this and that. And you're like, oh, shoot, I know people. What?
I know, you're just like,
wait, I do know people. Wait, hold up.
That's your moment of sitting there thinking, and then all those people, and you're like, wait a minute.
Like, hold up.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's right. That is right. I know. Because I've seen too, you've had some amazing people on your show. So
I feel like it's all been luck. Well, I still don't know why you guys keep saying yes, but I'm gonna take everything.
No, but that's the same thing. It's like you've had some incredible people on your show. Like just had Cody Malfi.
Yeah.
And that's like, and then I'm like, whoa, but I'm going to like that's super cool because like he was just on and he's, you know what I mean, like things like that, even Tiff, Bambies.
And that's why I'm saying, like, it makes it. I don't know, maybe if it's this sport or maybe I'm putting the same thing that I'm saying that it's against and putting it to other sports. But this one, everything feels, it's like it's big enough where there's range, but it's also so tight a community where it doesn't feel like everything feels equitable. It feels equitable, and so it's just like you feel like you can talk like. I'll be honest with you. Again, like I said, and I'm not just trying to blow smoke, but being able to talk to you, I don't know if I would have expected that, even before, talking to Anaya, talking to Katie, talking to Cody, Tiff, all these people you get the chance, get to be friends with, you get to include, you get to watch the process of rugby. And you speak to transition. I feel like that's this era that we get to be in right now. Like there's been obviously this 100 years of rugby and you have these 40 years and people have built up to a point, but I feel like we're being kind of blessed with this opportunity to be with this really quintessential era that gets to be unique. It's not playing out the rugby as Europe had it. It's not the rugby that we're trying to make. It's like we're getting to develop a culture, and then every culture gets to develop their version of rugby, and we get to see these little supplemental parts that we get to be a part of, whether it's from a media side, a business side, a coaching side, a player side, like
everything, the whole community.
It feels bigger than just, hey, I'm playing a game, and maybe it's just me. Let me know if you feel, but it's like it feels bigger than just being a part of the game. It's like, we get to be part of the thread that gets created.
Absolutely. I mean, because down the road, when we're, down 15, 20 years, hopefully sooner than that. But, the difference, we're just going to see a huge difference, even in the way that rugby is played here, and us, the U.S., want to go beat those Eastern Hemisphere teams, you know. I think like same thing for Mexico. Like,
right.
I truly hope that down the road, whether I'm still a part of it or not, that like we are in the top 3 teams in North America. You know, that's Canada, U.S., and Mexico, and without that huge gap.
Right.
You know, it's USA, Canada, and then it's gap, Mexico, Jamaica.
Yada, yada, yada.
You know, all the Caribbean teams.
Trinidad, yada, yada.
Right. Bermuda, Bahamas, like St. Lucia. So hopefully we're definitely a part of that. And I like that you said, you know, media, coaching, you know, community, youth, like everything.
It's wild. It's a wild thing. Like, I do think it's going to be like that, where there's not going to be this stalling. It's going to be, yo, I remember. You remember whenever we were just first going to tournaments and we were just playing and it was just keeping up with teams. Yo, now we just taking them on. Now we just beating teams.
That's right.
That's
right.
I remember seeing it. Yo, you remember so and so coach? Like, you guys have Coach Ruben, right?
Ruben UK. Yeah, he's amazing.
I literally remember him when I first met him. This is where I go talk about, like, first met him at U19s in 2015. Whenever he did like, that was my earliest days of broadcasting games. Like, it was literally the first multi-camera broadcast that I ever did, and I got to interact with him. I got to know him, and then saw him, I think, the next year at the qualifiers that were in Cary, North Carolina.
Okay.
Like, it's just wild, the changes, and then you're like, yo, what? Look at where we go. Like,
yeah, and his growth too. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
To be a part of that, to see it as well.
Right.
That's cool.
Wild experience. So I feel old. Don't get me wrong. I'm feeling old, but it's a good old. It's a good old.
Good. That's good. As long as your soul is where you want it to be, whether it's
I'm forever immature. Yes. I didn't grow up to become mature. I grew up so that I can do immature stuff and have an excuse to be able to do it.
I love that. I'm like kind of a veteran now on team, so I'm like, yeah, I might be this age, but my soul is like 22. We're fine.
Right, there we go. This is like, you guys didn't know. This is what we've been working for all. Like this, if you want to be young forever, you work really hard so that nobody can tell you that you're not allowed to be irresponsibly or responsibly young as you see fit. You earned your youth.
That's another PSA right here. Everyone listen.
We're just throwing out these gems. We got this.
I love it. I love it.
So, kind of wrapping up things a little bit, and I love this. You know,
I do too.
Dude, you got to experience, I would argue, the highest level of rugby that you got to play at the Repechage, whatever you want to call it. You know, for you, with this experience being had and knowing that you were able to compete, I know the results might not have been preferred, but you know how it feels to be in that stadium. You know, you played against a team that made it there in Russia.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It was Russia. France was there. We didn't play them.
France was there too. But, but you got to experience the same time as France, but you got to play against Russia, who got to play in this Olympic. So you know what it was like to be there. Mm-hmm. For you, as you move forward, what is it that you want to bring back to people from a generation that will be the generation after you, to let them know what it means to be, what it takes to be at that level?
For the next gen, I mean, really exciting thing is here, same thing in Mexico, the US, and just everywhere, youth is booming like crazy, and they're getting the opportunity to play at a younger age. First of all, obviously, super cliche is just putting the work in. And I think the biggest thing is it's really hard to put the work in when you are uncertain. That's all sports, right? You're uncertain of the outcome. Even if it's like for trying out, that's like, maybe you're on a team and now you're looking to win. But if you're looking to make a team and you don't know if you're going to make it, like that hard work and training when no one is watching, the things that you do when no one is watching, from when you wake up to when you go to bed. It matters. All those things will just add 1% every day. Those results are not going to come within a day, a month. I mean, that would be nice. And if it does,
it would be great. You know,
if it does, hit me up.
Right? Tell me how to do this, all right? Send it. Forget these words. Like, give me that one.
Yeah, like, okay, like, right? That's all I need now. But it's just the hard work and really, really, like, not only being able to, you know, trust the process, but enjoy the process.
Word.
No one ever wants to end up, and it happens a lot. It happened to me, actually, where, you know, you enjoy the process, but then at the end you feel unfulfilled. Like, that's a very, very, like, lonely, sad feeling. Word. Because, you know, did I actually enjoy the process, right? It's trust the process, enjoy the whole process, and know whatever's at the end, know that you have to enjoy it first to truly enjoy whatever's on the other side. You know, and be a student of the game. If there's something that I could have done differently when I was younger or in college, but younger, is being a student of the game. You know, that work does not stop after the field. You know what I mean? Same thing holistically or in the weight room. Like, learn the game, watch the film. It's an art, it's a practice, it's reps. Just like, you know, you want to be a painter, or you want to be the best singer, you know, or whatever you want your craft to be, it's reps, it's hours. These are the things that are going to help you master or get to where you want to be at that next level. And just believe in yourself. I think that's really important, especially as you get into that like international super competitive level. You know, there are a lot of times where you're going to doubt yourself, or people are going to doubt you. But if it's cliche, but if you don't believe in yourself, it's very hard for others to. And don't let anyone else tell you your worth. You know, at the end of the day, your worth comes in who you are, not what you do. So, like, staying true to your values, true to who you are, and good things will come. You know, and I say this because personally, I went through an experience. I'm going to share this in 2019, like when I joined Mexico. You know, I got so almost caught up with everything and like the results that I just, like, I remember even come back to WPL season, I was so cranky. You know, I was not happy, but everyone was like, you're fine, like, you're doing great. Like, I was captain at the time. They're like, you're normal. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't feel like a good teammate. You know, I really started associating my value with what I did and my results. And I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, which is sad because I love the sport and I love this game. Right. And someone once told me that, and you know, I knew it, and I had to do things to really just reshape my mindset and like my meditation and stuff. But it's really important that as you do get into, for any player youth, as you do get into that high level or just anywhere, is like, know that your value comes in who you are and what you do. And like, you're not going to go through this process alone. Your teammates, your support, your family, whoever, just keep grinding and believe in yourself. That's like, it's for me, that's what's helped me. I don't think it's like a magic recipe, you know, it's believing in yourself and just knowing that, just be a good person. Word. No, be a good person, good things will come, and just keep grinding. Don't stop. Like, don't stop.
That's real. That's real. Look, there's a reason these things are a cliche, because they are not lies. They are very consistent for a reason. So no, yeah. that is real. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Thank you. And it's all from, like, you know, moments where I felt like, what's going on? And, you know, and yeah, it's the big thing is believing in yourself. And again, similar just experiences where I stopped believing in myself because of a coach, and you're your number one fan. Like, word. You can have like partner, best friend, mother, but at the end of the day, you got to be your own champion to move forward. You know, right? You got to be your own champion.
You're the one that understands the situation and yourself the most, more than anybody else will ever be able to understand the situation. So,
right,
you got to be able to big up yourself so that you can also take in what everybody else is trying to give you
around you. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, and one last thing, because I just talk about classic.
Let's go.
Take opportunities, take risks, and jump. Don't be afraid. If you ever if this is for youth parents, If your kids end up using this as an excuse, I'm sorry. That's my PSA, okay, for today. But a lot of decisions that I make, I like to think, in 5 years, if I look back, will I regret this or will I regret not doing it? And usually the answer is I would regret not doing it. I think my biggest fear in life at the moment is looking back and saying I should have done that.
Word.
And that's pretty much a lot of how I base a lot of my decisions. But yeah, take the risks. And I hope that the youth that are coming up, there's going to be more opportunities in rugby to play high-level rugby or travel or whatever it is, just like take them all, because even if you don't continue rugby, it's amazing character development, it's amazing life development, memories, and I can go on because it's changed my life. Like, you know what I mean? I'm forever grateful, and I'm not stopping. You know, whatever.
Let's go. No, but that's. I know I'm saying it a lot, but that's real. That is truly real. I am 100% with there. Everything you just said, I am 100% with you on that one, because you don't realize how much you grow until you put yourself in positions where you're both uncomfortable, but you know that it's going to be valuable.
Exactly. Even if you don't know it right, you know it, but it won't happen right away.
Right. You got to play the long game in it. You got to play the long game. Oh, Jen. I love this so much. Yeah, we're gonna. We're gonna do this again.
I'm so down. Like, you see me? I'm just like, I'm so fun. Like, I really appreciate moments like this. Like I said, it really makes me like think about and reflect. And it's like, damn, like I've done so much in my rugby career, and I can't wait for what's in store.
Oh my goodness! You know, the future is amazing. Like, that's why I said, at this moment, you've played at the highest that you ever played, but I don't think that that's where it all ends for you.
No.
I can see this go. This is going to keep going for a minute, and you're going to get, especially you're known as a transitioner. Look now.
I know. I'm actually. I won't spill the beans here. Maybe I'll say after, but I'm working on some things, hopefully, to go abroad and play. I actually left coaching in May because pandemic showed me that I love coaching. Right now, my passion's for playing, and I want to do it more. I need to do more. So
as long as your legs are still going to allow you to do it, you got to take advantage. You got to take advantage. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yo, Jen, thank you so much. I'm going to cut them on here so we can be able to talk. So sorry, guys, you can't do it again anymore.
I know, sorry. But thank you, Gift. I appreciate you having me. You're the best. Thank you.
Jen, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And guys, thank you for taking the time to listen. We have so many great episodes here. We just had Theo Henry on last week. Previously, we had the Olympian Cody Melfi. We had prior to that Mick Feely with Citizens Rugby. We've gotten to greats. We've gone from Presence, Maria Thomas, Adam Milby. We had GMs like Katie Sadlier. We have had players like Blaine Scully, Nia Tapper, Chetta Emba, Charity Williams. You know, we have had great people with great stories. Kyle Granby, Kimani Davis, Tiffany Faye. We've got the HBCUs, Kamira Prince with Prairie View A&M. We've got North Carolina A&T. We got so many people. Morehouse. Like, we are trying to create the range and understanding, and we're going wider and bigger and better. You know, we got so many people, actors like Adam Hayward, and just continue to go on from there. So, guys, definitely check it out. If you have an opportunity, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Definitely hit the follow, and of course, like us on our Instagram, Grow Rugby Show, GREAUX Rugby Show. And just be able to follow and keep up. But guys, I appreciate you, and I hope that I hope that you're happy, I hope that you're healthy, and I hope you absolutely know that you are highly favored. Until next time, cheers.